Hello everybody, mega goal number 5, third secondary, and this is the 8th lesson in unit number 2, which is reading, on pages number 26 and 27. And let's recall let's recall the title of this unit, which is Rags to Riches. عنوان الوحدة كان Rags to Riches. So let's take a look at the objectives of this lesson. First, we should read and answer the questions, discuss the lesson, and discuss how to be successful in life without depending on others. راح نقرأ ونجاوب على الأسئلة، راح نناقش الدرس طبعا، وراح نناقش كيف الشخص يكون ناجح في الحياة بدون ما يعتمد على الآخرين. Now this lesson is a reading lesson. درسنا اليوم راح يكون قراءة. And it will be about Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi on pages 26 and 27. So if I may ask you, if you know this person or if you have heard of him, سمعتوا عن هذا الشخص أو تعرفونه? Okay, so let's move on, and then as we go through the lesson, you will get to know this person better. Before we start this lesson, I'd like to revise with you the vocab that we have already learned in the previous lesson, or we have already studied, but they will be found in the reading passage, so I thought it's very important to go through them one more time before we start the reading lesson. So I'll go through them very quickly. الكلمات اللي سبق ودرسناهم في الوحدة السابقة في الدرس السابق طبعا راح يكونوا موجودين في قطعة القراءة، عشان كذا راح نراجعهم مع بعض بسرعة. So the first one is renowned, comply with, hurdle, implement, founder, endowment, dispute, assets. So these are the words that we have already explained previously. Now please move on to pages 26 and 27. So the reading passage for today will be about Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi, and we will be reading about his character, or in other words, we will be reading the biography of Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi and how he is considered one of the people who are self-made, or the people who have started their life from scratch or from rags to being rich. من الأشخاص اللي بدأوا حياتهم من الصفر أو صنعوا أنفسهم. Okay, and they built themselves a reputation وبنوا لأنفسهم طبعا اسم. Before we start this reading passage, I'd like to ask you if you know Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi, and what do you think matters to him? إيش تعتقدون مهم بالنسبة له؟ So if I have this chart in the class and I ask you, what do you know about Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi, what would you say? And if I ask you, what do you want to learn about him, what would you say? And that the last column, آخر عمود, will be left till we finish this lesson, and you have to fill it with the things that you learned about him. Okay. So right now I'm gonna run the recording, and I would like you to follow up as you listen to the recording on pages 26 and 27. Later on we are gonna discuss it, and we will answer the questions about Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi. So get ready to listen to the recording about Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi.
Pages 26 and 27. 8. Reading.
Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi, the world-renowned philanthropist and winner of the 2012 King Faisal International Prize for Service to Islam, has not always been a billionaire. Born in 1929, he spent his youth in Al-Qasim, where he and his brother Saleh began their business, changing money for pilgrims, on their way to the cities of Makkah and Medina.
Their business expanded in the 1970s during the oil boom in Saudi Arabia. The Al-Rajhi brothers helped migrant workers from Indonesia, Pakistan, and other places to send their earnings home. They were granted permission to establish a bank, the Al-Rajhi Bank, which complied with religious tenets such as a ban on interest. Founding the bank, which is now the world.
So right now we will go back and we will discuss what we have listened to. So Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi has not been always a billionaire. He was born in 1929, and he has spent his youth in Al-Qasim. Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi ما كان شخص ملياردير من بداية حياته طبعا. He was born in the year 1929 and he spent his youth in Al-Qasim. قضى طفولته في شبابه في Al-Qasim in Saudi Arabia. So he and his brother Salih started their business changing money for pilgrims. كانوا يعني يبلون العمرات للأشخاص أو الحجاج on their ways from Mecca to Medina. Okay? كانوا يبدلون عملات في ذاك الوقت للحجاج pilgrims. Now their business expanded in 1970s during the oil boom in Saudi Arabia. توسع البزنس حقهم في السبعينيات طبعا من القرن الماضي خلال طبعا اكتشاف البترول أو ثورة البترول في السعودية. Now, so this is a picture of Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi, and this is his brother Salih, who he had worked with, اللي اشتغل معه. Now, the Al-Rajhi brothers helped migrant workers to send their earnings home. كانوا يساعدون اللي يشتغلون بالسعودية from Indonesia or Pakistan or other cities إنهم يرسلون their earnings يعني مدخراتهم to their homes إلى بلدانهم. Later on, they were granted permission to establish a bank which is called the Al-Rajhi Bank. أعطوا إذن أو الرخصة إنهم يأسسون البنك وهو اسمه طبعا مصرف الراجحي أو بنك الراجحي. Now the Al-Rajhi Bank has banned interest. طبعا ما في أي فوائد. طبعا معروف الراجحي هو اللي بدأ بفكرة أن القروض الإسلامية وأن الفوائد تكون يعني بنظام إسلامي. So that's what made this bank famous. هذا اللي خلى البنك مشهور. Now let's move on, and right now I'm gonna play the recording one more time and I'll do with this paragraph as I did with the previous one.
World's biggest Islamic lender was not hurdle-free. Suleiman al-Rajhi began by opening an office in Britain to introduce the Islamic banking system on a more international basis. However, his initial attempts to secure a banking license were unsuccessful, as British officials were not aware of the principles and requirements of Islamic banking. He had to travel to different countries in order to explain to bankers that interest was forbidden by Islam and regarded as unacceptable by pious people all over the world. He pointed out that interest caused a lot of people to avoid transactions with banks and to keep their cash and valuables at home. Eventually, the banking system he proposed was launched in Saudi Arabia and subsequently implemented in the United Kingdom. Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul.
We will stop here and then we will go back and discuss what we have listened to again. Now, the Al-Rajhi Bank has become one of the world's biggest Islamic lender, but they had a problem. أصبح طبعا من أكبر البنوك أو المصارف في العالم الإسلامي، لكن كانت عندهم عقبة أو مشكلة. Okay. Al-Rajhi opened an office in Britain in order to introduce the Islamic banking system internationally. But this attempt to secure a banking license was unsuccessful. حاول الراجحي أنه يفتح له فرع في بريطانيا علشان يقدم للعالم بشكل عام عن النظام البنكي الإسلامي. لكن محاولته unfortunately was unsuccessful. كانت محاولة غير ناجحة. But he didn't give up. He had to travel to different countries in order to explain Islamic banking. سافر إلى عدة دول علشان يوضح لهم النظام البنكي الإسلامي. And he pointed out a very important thing, يعني أشار إلى نقطة جدا مهمة, which is that interest caused a lot of people to avoid transaction with banks and keep their cash and valuables at home. طبعا أشار إلى نقطة جدا مهمة. في كثير في ذاك الوقت من الناس كانوا يتجنبون المعاملات المصرفية لأنهم ما يحبذون فكرة أنه يكون في فوائد interest، وهذا الشيء منعهم أنهم يتعاملون مع البنك، كانوا يفضلون يتركون النقود وكذلك الأشياء الثمينة في منازلهم. Later on, or eventually, the banking system he proposed was launched in Saudi Arabia, then later on was implemented in the United Kingdom. يعني أول حاجة كان النظام البنكي قبل بعدين اللي هو اقترحه في السعودية، وبعدين كذلك قبل في بريطانيا أو تم تطبيقه في بريطانيا United Kingdom. Now again we will listen to the recording and then we will discuss what we will listen to or what we have listened to.
Abdul Aziz Al-Raji is also chairman of the National Agricultural Development Company and founder of the Al-Wataniya agricultural projects, which include the largest poultry farm in the Middle East and one of the most successful companies in Saudi Arabia. Al-Raji had visited a poultry farm abroad and had been shocked by the improper way chickens were fed and slaughtered. This prompted him to launch the Poultry Farm Project, making sure that chickens were naturally fed and halal slaughtered according to Islamic tenets. He has also introduced and supported organic farming throughout the Middle East, intent on securing healthy food for all as a means of fostering good health, preventing illness, and consequently reducing the cost of medical treatment. The Al-Raji projects diversified into other areas as well, such as real estate and other investment projects.
Okay, so we will go back and we will discuss this part. So right now, Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdulaziz Al-Rajhi has not been only a banker. لم يكن فقط شخص مصرفي. He also, Sheikh Sulaiman Al-Rajhi, is the chairman of the National Agriculture Development Company. Okay, يعني اللي هو مثل ما يقولون رئيس أو رئيس أو الجمعية يعني بالنسبة للزراعة، التطوير في الزراعة. Okay. And he is also the founder of the Al-Wataniya Agriculture Project. طبعا هو اللي أوجد شركة الوطنية اللي هي الوطنية Poultry، دواجن الوطنية. And Al-Rajhi had visited a poultry from abroad, and he had been shocked by the improper way chicken were fed and slaughtered. يعني لما كان الراجحي في الخارج زار الدواجن اللي هناك وتفاجأ بالطريقة اللي كانوا يقتلون فيهم يعني اللي يطعمون فيها. طبعا كانت طريقة غير مقبولة إسلاميا، طبعا اللي يغذون فيها الدجاج وكذلك كان يتم سلخهم بطريقة غير مقبولة إسلاميا. So that was when he promoted this promoted him to launch the Poultry Farm Project, making sure that the chickens were naturally fed and halal slaughtered according to Islam tenets. طبعا هنا جات فكرة انه ينشأ شركة دواجن الوطنية، وطبعا he made sure يعني أكد أو حرص ان الchickens were naturally fed، انهم يكونون يغذونهم يعني بطريقة طبيعية، وطبعا والسلخ أو الذبح يكون بالطريقة الإسلامية، طبعا بناء على العقيدة الإسلامية. So naturally fed and halal slaughtered. Now the Al-Rajhi project diversified into other areas as well, such as real estate and other investment projects. So as well برضو يعني مشاريع الراجحي يعني تنوعت أو اختلفت. من الاستثمار في العقار والاستثمار في المشاريع. Okay, now let's move on to the next part. Right now you will listen to this paragraph and then later on we will discuss it. What happened in 2009.
In 2009, Suleiman Al-Raji established the Suleiman Al-Raji University, a non-profit research university with 3 departments: medicine, nursing, and applied science. In fact, the university was established by Suleiman Al-Raji Charitable Foundation, SAAR, which is considered the largest foundation of its kind in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in terms of capital as well as range and volume of activities. SAAR now owns and controls more than half of...
Okay, let's go back and discuss it. So in 2009, Suleiman Al-Rajhi established the Suleiman Al-Rajhi University with 3 departments: medicine, nursing, and applied science. في عام 2009 أسس سليمان الراجحي الجامعة في 3 أقسام. اسم الجامعة طبعا جامعة سليمان الراجحي: nursing, medicine, and applied science. طب، تمريض، وكذلك العلوم التطبيقية. The university was established by the Suleiman Al-Rajhi Charitable Foundation, SAAR. طبعا كانت يعني أسستها اللي هي مؤسسة سليمان بن عبد العزيز الراجحي الخيرية، SAAR. Now, SAAR organizes and oversees a substantial number of charities and humanitarian activities worldwide. طبعا المؤسسة هذه تنظم عدة أنشطة خيرية وكذلك أنشطة إنسانية مو بس في السعودية، worldwide، في العالم الإسلامي أجمع. Now let's move on to the next part.
Of Suleiman Al-Raji's wealth. The foundation organizes and oversees a substantial number of charities and humanitarian activities worldwide.
In May 2011, Suleiman Al-Raji announced that he was donating most of his $7.7 billion fortune to charity. During his lifetime, Al-Raji distributed the rest of his wealth to his children in order to avoid potential disputes over inheritance that could destroy kinship and harmony among them. Suleiman Al-Raji was awarded the highly prestigious...
Hold on a second. So right now we will discuss the rest of this reading passage. So Suleiman Al-Rajhi in May 2011, he announced that he was donating most of his $7.7 billion fortune to charity effective after death. يعني في عام 2011 في شهر ماي اللي هي شهر 5 أعلن سليمان الراجحي إنه راح يتبرع donating جزء كبير من ثروته إلى الأعمال الخيرية، وطبعا راح يكون effective after his death، يعني بعد وفاته. طبعا للآن سليمان الراجحي الله يعطيه الصحة والعافية يعني لا يزال على قيد الحياة وعمره تقريبا 91 years old. And he's saying that he will donate most of his fortune, معظم ثروته يعني ثروته تبلغ at that time $7.7 billion to the charity. Also he did a very good يعني he did also another thing. He as well distributed the rest of his wealth to his children. طبعا وزع ثروته يعني بقية الثروة إلى أطفاله أو أبنائه. That was because he wanted to avoid potential dispute over inheritance. طبعا عشان يتجنب نزاع الأشقاء على الثروة ويعني عشان يحافظ على أواصر المحبة بينهم. He decided to distribute his wealth among his children. وزع ثروته على أبنائه طبعا عشان يتجنب to avoid potential dispute الخلافات بينهم حول الإرث أو الميراث. Now let's move on and we will listen to the last part about Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz al-Rajhi.
King Faisal International Prize for Service to Islam in 2012 in recognition of his outstanding service to Islam, his role in the establishment of the world's largest Islamic bank, and his ongoing contribution to charities and the humanitarian project's fight against poverty. Having experienced extreme poverty earlier in life, Al-Raji chose to donate and distribute all his assets to gain peace of mind and inner happiness.
Okay, so that was the last part in this lesson, or in this reading lesson. Let's discuss it. So, now in 2012, Sulaiman al-Rajhi was awarded the highly prestigious King Faisal International Prize for Services to Islam. في عام 2012 أعطى سليمان الراجحي اللي هي جائزة الملك فيصل العالمية طبعا للخدمات الإسلامية. And this award was given as a recognition of his outstanding service to Islam. أعطت طبعا نظير لخدماته في للإسلام. Okay, so this is a picture of Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz al-Rajhi with King Sulaiman. And when he was awarded King Faisal prestigious international prize in 2012 في 2012. Now this is the conclusion of the biography of Sulaiman or Sheikh Sulaiman al-Rajhi. He had experienced extreme poverty earlier in his life. Al-Rajhi chose to donate and distribute all his assets to gain peace of mind and inner happiness. طبعا الشيخ سليمان الراجحي he hasn't been rich all his life. He was born poor, انولد فقير, and he suffered from poverty, عانى من الفقر في بداية حياته. ففي النهاية اختار انه هو يتبرع وكذلك يوزع ثروته وطبعا ممتلكاته. That was in order to gain عشان يعني يكون يعني gain peace of mind, عشان يعني يريح مثلا peace of mind, يريح مثلا يعني مزاجه أو يريح مثلا عقله أو يعني يعيش في سلام عقلي anyways, وكذلك يعيش في سعادة داخلية. Okay, now I have a question for you earlier but I ran it wrongly. كان عندي سؤال before we start answering the after reading question, قبل ما نجاوب بعد القراءة أسئلة ما بعد القراءة. I'd like to ask you, how would you describe Sheikh Sulaiman al-Rajhi? Okay, so this was the question. How would you describe Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz al-Rajhi? Okay, I forgot to add a question mark here. Okay, so we can say that he is a philanthropist, yes. اللي هو رجل أعمال خيري, and he's a businessman. We can say that he's a hard worker, right, and he is one of the people who are considered to be self-made, الأشخاص اللي يعتبرون صنعوا أنفسهم. He started from scratch يعني بدأ من الصفر. He as well fought for what he believed in, يعني حارب من أجل ما يؤمن فيه, of course in the service of Islam, يعني لخدمة الإنسانية. Okay, and he has a foresight, ممكن تكون عنده جدا بصيرة. Okay, so I'd like you to take a minute or two to reflect on his biography. ممكن تتأملون في سيرته الذاتية, and you tell me what you have learned يعني from from Sheikh Sulaiman al-Rajhi. إيش اللي تعلمته من سيرته الذاتية from his biography. Now let's move on to the after reading question. Okay, so here I'm just gonna answer one of the questions. What were Sulaiman al-Rajhi's life prospects in relation to his early life. Okay. يعني شنو كانت آفاقه في بداية حياته طبعا. He did not seem to have much hope of becoming a billionaire. ما كان يعني ذاك الوقت إنه عنده يعني آمال أو مثلا آفاق إنه يكون بليونير في ذاك الوقت. Now, as for the rest of the reading, after reading question, I believe that you are capable of answering them by yourself since that you have understood the lesson. أنا متأكدة إنكم تقدرون تجاوبون على بقية الأسئلة اللي هي after reading بما أنكم فهمتوا الدرس. Now, as for the speaking part, I'm just gonna introduce it بس بقدمه لكم, and then you can do it later in class or with your teacher or with your partners. Okay, think about how you can be successful in your life without depending on others, and you can make notes in the chart. طبعا كيف الواحد يكون شخص ناجح بدون ما يعتمد على الآخرين. Okay, use your notes to talk in groups or in class, and then you can compare your ideas. Okay, so this is mainly a speaking practice, تدريب على التحدث, and you can take your time preparing your note on how to be successful in your life without depending on others, and this chart may help you. يمكن هذا الجدول يساعدكم. What I'm good at. Yes, you can tell us, or you can tell your teacher or your classmates what is your strength, what are you good at, ايش نقاط القوة عندك, ايش اللي انت يعني ممكن تكون من الاشياء اللي انت جيد فيها. How I can use my strength to develop, كيف يعني استفيد من قوتي عشان اتطور. Which areas or skills I can develop. طبعا ما تركز على أشيائك السلبية أو عفوا أشياء نقاط القوة فقط عندك. You have to as well work on your weaknesses. تشتغل على نقاط ضعفك to develop عشان تتطور. Now, how long it will take to reach my goal. If you have a goal in life, well, how long would you think it will take you to reach it? كم تتوقع من الوقت علشان تستحققه. Now, right now, we have reached the end of the lesson about Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi. I hope that you have enjoyed listening or reading about Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rajhi biography. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. And if you like the lesson, please leave me a thumb up. And if you have a question of any kind or any piece of information about Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Sulaiman Rajhi, you can just leave it in the comment box below. Till next time, have a fabulous day or have a fabulous week. See you later.